Hello, I'm Paige Duncan and welcome to The Common View. As I've told you in the last 2 episodes, we are doing this as an effort to reach the residents of Foxborough and the community at large because everybody gets their information in different ways. Some of you like to go on Facebook and look at Foxborough Discussion or Uptown Happenings. Others read the Foxborough Reporter. And then this is one way to sort of come into your living room or into your car when you're driving to have you listen and see us in person. So welcome to our 3rd installment of The Common View. Today, I have a special guest, and with me today is Bill Yukna, our Select Board Chair, and he is here with me to discuss the strategic plan that Foxborough is currently undertaking. So thank you, Bill. Thanks for joining me today.
Thanks, Paige. Happy to be here.
From your perspective, we're going to jump right in. So from your perspective, why did you support the need for a strategic plan, and why do you think it's really going to help the community?
Well, at its core, it's about stepping back and looking at the big picture. It helps communities understand where we are today, where we're going, what choices we need to make to move in that direction. It's not just about one project or one budget cycle. This is a longer-term project that helps to guide basically the town overall and give a shared direction for its growth and to meet the needs of the citizens and the businesses and the community at a whole. And again, I think from an overall point of view, it is a longer term approach. A budget's a 1-year cycle. A strategic plan can be 3, 5, or greater. So.
Great. Yeah. No, that's great. And you put it really well. I often describe it as a community roadmap, where we do focus on the longer term priorities like finances, infrastructure, public services, and how the town grows in a way that still feels like Foxborough, because we know the residents really do value the Foxborough feel. And another way to think about it, as our consultant has brought up, is that there are 4 sort of overarching questions. First, where are we right now as a community, including strengths, challenges, and what residents are experiencing day to day? Second is, where do we want to be in the future? That visionary part, and it reflects the kind of town you want to be in, say, 5 or 10 years. Third, how are we going to get there? We're going to establish clear goals, responsibilities, and actions. And then finally, how are we going to know when we are making progress? And so how can we measure and track the goals and objectives we set? So Bill, from the Select Board's perspective, why did you feel like now was the time to do this and take on this type of effort?
Well, Paige, I think the biggest reason is that Foxborough is at a point where we really need to be thoughtful about what how we're growing and what we're investing our resources in. We have a strong schools, strong public safety, strong public works, and basically we need to make sure that the residents are getting what they're looking for from a community point of view. We want to make sure we're protecting that while we're planning for the future. We want to make major financial decisions about facilities, infrastructure, and other long-term services based on decisions like this, because they do affect our taxes. And I think most people will say, that's one of their biggest concerns is our tax values. Affordability for the town overall is an important issue. And a strategic plan helps to look at the full financial picture and set priorities instead of doing things, making decisions on a, one cents, one item at a time type of thing. And I think if you look at most major operations that have been successful, they will all have a strategic plan that sets those markers as to where to go. It gives you, a way to step back and look at issues and what residents are concerned about, and then to build your programs and your budgets and your methods that will match that.
Absolutely, agreed. And one of the things I really appreciate about working with the selectmen on this is that it's not just about sort of town hall, me, the select board deciding these priorities. From the very beginning, there's been an inherent and a defined effort to ensure that the residents are involved. And we want to hear from businesses, all community groups, really across town. And can you just tell us a little bit about why this community input was so important and why it's going to be such a central part of this process?
I think that's the critical part. At the end of the day, we're here to represent the community, not to set priorities in a vacuum. We hear that from people at meetings through emails and feedback. Their feedback is important, but it is only a small slice of the population that shows up to those meetings or that voices their opinion. And it also makes for us a harder way to gauge what they're really looking for. A strategic planning process gives us a chance to hear from a much broader group of residents, including people who may not go to meetings, who may not normally send an email, and who are busy with families and work. And so we know, we want their voice to count, and we want to hear their voice.
Great. I agree. And I think that's a very important point. We love those that do participate, and we don't at all take that for granted. But how do we reach the folks that don't have time, might not know how to reach us or how to get involved? So this process is going to give them a sort of a voice in shaping where we're headed and the priorities of the community. And we're really looking at patterns rather than just sort of the individual approach, which is really important. And because these decisions we're making really do affect the whole community, and we don't only want to hear from the loudest voices. We need to hear from those that aren't speaking or speak softly, and really want to take into consideration the broad spectrum of input.
Yeah, exactly. I think the broader input helps us better set our priorities. It also helps us see where we're in strong agreement with what the residents want, or where we're in disagreement or need to make other trade-offs. Obviously, the town has to do certain things on a regular basis, but when you have a strategic plan that shows you that there are certain concerns that need to be addressed, I think it's a lot better that the people who are making those daily decisions can also understand that they can impact the way we move forward. And again, we're looking at a longer term philosophy here. This is not a short term, what are we doing tomorrow? This is what are we doing tomorrow so that we get to someplace down the road.
I like how you put that. Yeah. That was good. So when people hear strategic plan, sometimes their eyes glaze over and they think it's very abstract. But in reality, this plan will actually feed directly into spending, zoning, what services are offered, and development, and sort of how Foxborough looks in the future. So from your perspective, how do you see this plan helping guide your decision and the select board's decisions and other boards over the next few years?
I see this, as I said, as a framework for prioritizing the direction in which the town has to go. We always balance a lot of good ideas with limited resources, and we have a strategic plan that reflects community priorities. It helps us to better, answer those questions. Does this project move, us in the direction that we need to go? Is this something that's going to help citizens and residents feel better about the budgets that they're approving? Does the investment of a kind like this, is this really something that's going to work for us over the next 5 to 10 years? I think most boards change on a regular basis. Obviously, my board changes every 3 years. And I think when you look at pretty much even the staffing within the town, we're fortunate to have staffing that has been here for many years, but there are changes. And so if they have something to look at, it also gives them some direction if you're a new person to the town, one way or the other. And I think once all the data is in, there's a real effort to study carefully and understand the trends, not just to look at individual comments, although we obviously do. That is what will help us, make sure that we, take the feedback into and make it into real priorities that the town needs to move towards.
Yeah, that's a great way of putting it. And to build on it, so to be clear, that once the plan's adopted, the staff and boards would use this document sort of as a baseline. As each project comes up, we'll ask the question, does this project move us closer to the goals that the community as a whole identified? And if not, does it need to be a priority right now? And this kind of alignment really does make the plan useful and an effective tool as we move forward. So now let's switch over to how are people going to get involved, because this is not a one-time meeting and this is not a one-month process. We have something on the screen to show you sort of the time frame. But right now, I'll go over what the schedule is, since I've been working closely with the consulting team. We're going to start with a scientifically valid random sample survey. That's going to go out to about 3,500 households. That's going to help make sure that the input is representative of the community. But never fear, if you're not one of those communities that, again, is statistically chosen, you will have the opportunity to fill out that survey at a later date. But the group that we're working with, Polco, actually does this across the country, and it's recognized as an approach. They will have the statistically significant survey to help give us this baseline for the town. After that, the survey will be available to every resident of Foxborough. So it won't be part of the statistical sample, but it will be very important and will still be used to help to guide the conversation and shape the plan. We're also going to have community meetings we're trying to get away from the standard community meeting at town hall. Again, we get our usual groups there, but we want to reach out further. So we're going to have a variety of different ways for folks to get involved. So we do ask that you pay attention. If you're not currently signed up for alerts from the website, please go to our town website and sign up. And further, if you're not signed up for Fox Alert, which is our notification system, please sign up for that, because we'll be putting out information through those two channels. One of the things, Bill, that we've talked about on the staff level is we're going to have a booth at Founders Day. We know so many people from the community come to Founders Day, and we want to make sure that folks get to hear us, and we'll have activities for the kids so the parents can talk. So you're going to see this on social media out there, and we really do hope that those that aren't always involved do get involved. And I also want to caution that this isn't something that's going to happen over the next couple weeks and be done. This is a year-long process. We probably won't be done until mid to late fall, maybe even into the winter. So there's going to be a period of data collection, professional analysis. There'll be a draft report. So there's going to be many steps involved. But really getting your input in when solicited is your job as a community to participate in this. Speaking of that, Bill, so can you kind of convey why it's important to you? I mean, we've touched on it, we're getting redundant, but I think we really want to hit home. Why is it so important, and how does the residents and the community at large input really matter?
Yes, I think it really does matter, for us to hear the process of what residents really are looking for and what they want us to focus on as we move the town forward. The survey results and feedback from meetings will directly shape the goals and the priorities of the plan. We will be talking with major shareholders, stakeholders throughout the town, but basically we want to hear from as many people as we can. We want large organizations, we want smaller groups, we want to hear from volunteers, we want to hear from residents, and we want to hear from seniors, parents, every basic group within the town. And quite honestly, a survey like this, I believe, can give us that kind of input. You don't normally get. Again, I think the point we made originally with people very busy in their schedules, can't get to us and give us the information. So we want to work with the people, get them to hopefully fill out these surveys and send them back. The more that do it, the better the data is going to be. And the more we'll hear in person on some of these meetings as well, that hopefully people will attend as well and participate. I just think that this is an opportunity really for citizens to have that input that they always say that they are missing.
Agreed. Thank you. And really, this is the time to speak up. We're going to be setting priorities and decisions, and during the input time is the time to hear from you. Once the plan's done, I'm not saying nothing can change, but we're going to be following that plan for a couple years. So we really do need the voices to come at a time when we're asking for them, when they're going to be most effective, and that's coming up now. And again, as we have already said, it's going to carry not just with the select board, but other boards. And so, Bill, how do you see the role of different boards and committees fitting into the process, and how will they help carry out the plan moving forward?
Well, I think each board and committee has its own responsibilities on a regular basis, but the strategic plan gives them an opportunity to be part of a shared direction. Planning board, zoning board, school committee, advisory committee, all of them can look at the plan at any time and see how the directions connect to the broader community in the way we're trying to move forward. After the plan is adopted by the board and obviously the community, hopefully as a whole, that is when the real work begins. Making sure that we guide our choices in every day based on that plan. That means checking in on progress, talking with people about how the project is going, lining up the plan and adjusting as we need to, because that's obviously one of the biggest things you have here. If you have no way of measuring it, you really don't do well on any plan. The plan really should be based on listening to the community and making sure that we focus on what matters to them. As I said at the beginning, this is not us making a decision as a board or any of the boards making a decision on their own. This should be something that helps us focus on the direction that the community is looking for. Even if you don't usually get involved, and many people don't, and I understand that. I think many people are just so busy. Unfortunately, time is so precious for everybody that I think that this is an opportunity, whether you come to one of the regular sessions that will be held, or whether you just fill out the survey. I mean, I have to say, yes, it takes some time to fill out surveys, especially surveys that, quite honestly, are worth anything. And I think that's what some people don't understand. They're like a 5-question survey. They feel good, it's all over. But the reality is, to get people's real input, surveys tend to have much more in-depth questions and are looking for more data to come forward. And as you said, POCO basically does this nationally. So there will be some questions on there that are questions that aren't just Foxborough oriented, but are considered to be, what would be normally, out there. Mm-hmm. And it gives us a way to balance against those comments as well, to see if, okay, does Foxborough look at things in a similar way? So having people basically have this opportunity, I think, is critical. And I hope they really take the opportunity to fill it out and complete it.
Yeah, because we know not everybody's happy. I mean, we all, and again, we do want to hear. It is important to us, and where we can improve, as we're able to with the resources we have, we're absolutely committed to that. I mean, this is Foxborough's community, and I know the staff, we work for the residents, and we want to do what the residents want. So that's very important to us. So I just want to thank you so much for taking the time to come talk about this, and for the select board's leadership in this process and their support. I think I was going to ask you if there's anything to wrap up, which is more of the same. Please get involved. I think you've said it quite eloquently, so I won't make you talk that much more. But if you have any final words, or please feel free right now.
Yeah, no, again, I think, as we've said a number of times, people getting involved in this process is going to be great. We all know how diverse our community is as far as, interests. People who have lived here all their lives, people who have come here in the last few years. I know I'm a relatively newcomer at 33 years, but I think having everybody, have an opportunity to say something really gives the community the opportunity. And you can't, look at town hall or any organization in town and be upset with them if you don't help give direction. And so this is the opportunity. Help us give us some direction. Help us work with our boards and committees and departments to meet those directions going forward. But I thank you also for putting this together. And again, I know it's a lot of work. I know there's a great team inside Town Hall that's working with the consultants right now. And the efforts are going to be hopefully very fruitful in what we get back out of it.
I hope so. All right, well, thank you, Bill, and thank you, everyone, for tuning in to our third installment of The Common View. Please share this video with your friends and neighbors. Let them know what you've learned. Word of mouth is the best way, kind of, if you're talking about at the bus stop or at a sporting event or a school event. Please do get the word out of how important this is. Share the links. And until next time, thank you for joining us.